Minnesota, just like in Wisconsin, we respect our neighbors and the personal choices they make. Even if we wouldn't make the same choices for ourselves, because we know there's a golden rule.
He's not a nice old guy. He's a leftist. He is an extreme left-wing progressive. He is a wolf in sheep's...
Picture this. Michelle Tafoya walks in like she just cracked open the worst-kept secret in politics. And it's Tim Walz. She's not sipping tea, she's hurling the whole boiling kettle. Suddenly, Walz isn't just another suit, he's a walking red flag with a siren. And Michelle? She's practically waving flares while yelling, "Buckle up." This isn't politics as usual, it's a roast no one saw coming.
Maybe we won't agree on every issue. Hell, maybe we won't agree on any issue. But maybe when the campaign signs come down, we all get a little break from the rhetoric and the TV ads and the fundraising texts, and I'm sorry about those.
I happen to live right now in Minnesota, where he is still the governor, and he's still a fool, and he's still a fraud, and he's still a clown.
Ooh.
And I seriously have zero respect.
If you're enjoying this, hit subscribe, it helps more than you think. Michelle Tafoya didn't just enter the political ring, she swan-dived off the top rope like she's gunning for the WWE Truth Bomb title. Her target? Tim Walz. The Minnesota governor's no longer just the flannel-wearing dad-bod guy who brags about hunting. Nope. Michelle basically slapped a neon sign on him that reads, "Caution, side effects may include regret, confusion, and eye-rolling."
Say so far, not a good week, and it's early, it's only Wednesday, but not a good week for Kamala Harris. And meanwhile, her running mate, who again, full disclosure, the governor of the state of Minnesota where I live and will not be living much longer, thanks in large part to Winters, yes, but Walz as well, the two W's. I don't know how hard I have to work to convince you all that Tim Walz is not a man you want a heartbeat away from the president.
Here's the thing about Walz, he's mastered the dark art of being aggressively mediocre. It's like he looks in the mirror every morning and asks, "How can I make beige even more beige today?" And then he nails it. From botched policies like he buttered his hands to speeches that sound like ChatGPT on dial-up, Walz has turned Minnesota nice into Minnesota nightmare.
Do you think the current governor, Tim Walz, is associated with that fraud? How much responsibility does he bear?
Oh, he owns it. Absolutely. I mean, there have been no agency people held accountable for the fraud on the front end. So if we could stop this with better internal controls and oversight by the agencies, then there would be fewer criminals out there bilking.
When he says that kids who want to come here and get gender affirming care without parental guidance is wrong, he is lying to you. I'm married to a lifetime Minnesotan, and we know.
Why is Michelle Tafoya waving red flags like she's directing traffic at a clown convention? Because Walz isn't just another politician playing hokey-pokey with his promises, he is the hokey-pokey. Every move is confusing, every pivot dizzying. She didn't just pull back the curtain, she yanked it down and showed us a guy who couldn't find the exit in a roundabout even with GPS and 3 road signs.
Walz, okay,
Yeah.
So I was at the Peking University and engaging with economists, and I'd made the statement, I'd corrected him when he had said that Mao had made mistakes. And I said, excuse me, this was in 2010. I said, killing more than 70 million of your own people is more than a mistake. And the Chinese deny my visa and say that I'll only be allowed into the country if I will sign a document stating that I will neither write nor say anything negative about China. I'm banned after one visit. But here's a guy who's going back while he's a National Guardsman,
It's Disaster Sunday, and Walz is strutting around like he discovered the secret to eternal youth, then forgot to write it down. He's got that "trust me, I got this" energy while steering the political bus into a ditch. Michelle barely has to say anything, his public performance is the punchline. His leadership style? Think indecision and overcomplication had a kid, and that kid runs Minnesota. Walz can turn a simple issue into a 5-act tragedy and then forget his lines halfway through. Need a clear stance? Too bad. His consulting ghosts. Want efficiency? Please. This is a man who could turn pizza night into a bureaucratic crisis with 6 committees and a pineapple debate. Michelle saw right through it. Her message: be scared, not because he's evil, but because he's the opposite.
Has never been vetted because he looks so harmless. Isn't that always the way, the wolf in sheep's clothing? It's always the way. When he abandoned Minneapolis during the George Floyd riots, we were all sitting back going, where the hell is Tim Walz? Where's the governor? He didn't show his face for 3 days. But it's not just that. There is so much wrong in this state now. When he says that there are not abortions up to 9 months,
Walz proves that the scariest people in charge aren't the evil masterminds. They're the duct tape fixers treating real crises like DIY projects. Imagine a babysitter who can't work a microwave but insists on making soufflés. That's Walz in office. Michelle's just standing there with arms crossed like, told you so. The real irony: he's branded himself as everyman. But everyman doesn't mean every man who's worse at decision-making than you. When dial-up internet feels more reliable than your governor, we've got a problem. His issue isn't cartoon villainy, it's soul-crushing, spreadsheet-level incompetence.
proud of that you've accomplished since 2018?
You know, the most important work I've done has been in the last session when I became chair of the fraud committee. Minnesota has an epidemic of fraud. Under Tim Walz, we are looking at north of $1 billion of our tax dollars being stolen and ripped away from vulnerable citizens who actually need help. So my work on the fraud committee continues, even though we're not in session. We're having our next meeting September 17th. And I am just committed to rooting out the fraud and protecting taxpayers and vulnerable.
He's not stealing cookies, he's losing the jar, creating a task force to find it, and calling a press conference to say cookie policy is under review. Michelle Tafoya is on the rooftop shouting, "This isn't leadership, it's a sitcom that forgot how to be funny." And the excuses. Walz could write a trilogy, It's Not My Fault, a politician's guide to dodging accountability. If something goes wrong, it's the weather, Mercury in retrograde, or the neighbor's cat acting sketchy. He's got more scapegoats than a petting zoo. Ask him a hard question and get an answer so off base, you'll wonder if you tuned into a cooking show. He serves word salad, wilted lettuce, questionable ranch, and a crouton hard enough to crack teeth. Michelle didn't just call it out. She flipped the whole table and said, "Stop pretending this is edible."
State into the ground. And so there are a lot of people in my neighborhood who are moving, not just my neighborhood, from all over Minnesota, who have left, probably heading your way. It's been really sad. I've lived here for half of my life now. I grew up, like I said, in Southern California and spent the first half of my life in California and then came here. I'm so sad to see this state the way that it is. So I would have honestly, I'd love to sit across from him and interview him, but it would be more like a...
The truly terrifying part. Walz somehow convinces people he's competent. That's the magic trick. He rolls up his sleeves while the metaphorical sink overflows behind him. It's like hiring a contractor to build your house and discovering they spent all their time organizing the tool shed instead. And by the time the roof collapses, you realize, oh right, they never built the house. Michelle's warning wasn't boo, be scared, it was, don't give this man sharp objects or major responsibilities. And yet, the machine keeps rolling. Walz is the office guy who keeps getting promoted just for showing up, even though everyone knows he spends half his day playing solitaire. Michelle didn't come with a PowerPoint. She lit the fuse and walked away.
Guy is a doofus. He's just a goober. He's kind of a clown. He's not a serious guy. Every time you see him, he's like, you just get embarrassed for him and for Minnesota. I don't know if is he popular there? Do people like this guy?
Walz, of course, acts unfazed. He's perfected the everything's fine poker face, even with flames in the background. But people are catching on. That poker face doesn't work when your cards are upside down and everyone sees you're holding a pair of threes. Michelle basically yelled, "He's bluffing." And once the trick's exposed, the magic vanishes. The scary part. Walz isn't fumbling on his own dime. He's got the whole state strapped to his back, running in circles. It's like being on a roller coaster run by a guy asleep at the controls. He's not scary because he's evil. He's scary because he's oblivious. And that's the kind of leadership that keeps people awake at night. Defenders will say he's just misunderstood. That his heart's in the right place. But good intentions don't build bridges or solve crises. Michelle said what needed to be said. Intentions don't matter when execution is a disaster.
I need people to know that I've lived there since 1994. I've been through numerous governors, and this guy's the worst. He is a wolf in sheep's clothing. He likes to go around and smile and act like he's just good old Tim Walz. That period of time in Minneapolis was awful. A neighbor across the street came over and said, "Do you have a fire extinguisher? My friend's business is burning and there's no one to help."
Speaking of execution, or the lack of it, Walz can announce a plan like a TED Talk star, only to have it collapse like a toddler's Jenga tower. The man doesn't know what he's doing. And that should worry you. Governing isn't supposed to feel like a choose-your-own-adventure book where every ending is bad. Michelle said it best, being scared isn't overreacting, it's self-preservation. Because when your leader can't find the steering wheel, everyone in the car should be concerned. Walz isn't a villain. He's the guy fumbling with the projector while everyone watches the screen flash error for the 50th time. Michelle's point? It's not what he does on purpose. It's what he screws up by accident that should keep you up at night.
This is a place full of working folks, students, folks who care. And I think about this. You came out here early, found a place to park, stood in the sun, sat here and wait, and you did it. You did it for one simple and eloquent and beautiful reason. You love this country. You love this country.
In politics, accidental disasters hit just as hard as intentional ones. So when Michelle Tafoya says, "Be afraid," it's not fear-mongering, it's pointing at the flaming mess in the room. Walz isn't terrifying because he's powerful. He's terrifying because he's in power. He's the guy who sends the state budget to Staples by mistake, then holds a press conference to say, "That was the plan all along." Michelle didn't just call him out. She pulled the fire alarm. The smoke isn't from a fire, it's from Walz burning dinner in the political kitchen and insisting it smells gourmet. The man could turn a steak into a hockey puck and launch a campaign calling it bold new flavor.
For fire extinguishers. We were under curfew, but he was nowhere to be found.
Oh.
And the night that precinct burned and those cops just had to flee, it was one of the most surreal moments I can recall as being a citizen of any.
And yet, people keep handing him the spatula. That's the real horror story here. The problem isn't a monster in the shadows, it's the crowd cheering on the guy who can't even preheat the oven. Michelle's message wasn't "look out for danger." It was, "Stop calling this incompetence cute." Walz has turned Minnesota nice into Minnesota nervous. And Michelle's saying what everyone's thinking, "This isn't fine. Stop pretending it is." Because under the showmanship and flannel, chaos is following him around like a loyal dog. And Michelle's last word? Don't pet it.